Welcome back to another video. So it has been a little bit since been working on the car. Went on a work trip for a little while, so I haven't been back in the shop or I guess my garage to really work on anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up where we left off. I ordered some parts while I was gone. We're gonna go and get this car pretty much 100% buttoned up to where I want it to be at. So if you guys remember last time, there's a few small issues going on with the car since we did everything to it, and namely, primary one is with the ice tank. So I was having a problem with it at the track. Started overheating the connection here. Now I was experimenting around, so it wasn't like this originally. So what happened was the pump in there is a Rule 3700, and I looked up the specs for 20 feet of wire, which is how far we ran. It wants a 14 gauge wire. The problem came into play when I didn't know there's a difference between 14 gauge regular copper wire and 14 gauge aluminum coated wire, or aluminum coated copper wire, something like that. It's basically aluminum wire with a small copper coating on it, and it flows about 30% less than full copper. So basically we undersized the wire. As a result, I went ahead and bought some new wire to fix that. So I decided to go a little bit extra beefy and make the full system 12 gauge. So this is 12 gauge tinned copper wire, so it's going to look silver like the other stuff, but this is actual copper. And then I upgraded our fuse holder to a actual 14 gauge as well, or sorry, a 12 gauge, and our relay was already 12 gauge. So going bigger is good, smaller not so good. And basically what happened was it was overheating the wire. This cuts down to a copper 14, but I want to make sure that my wiring is good to go up until this point, and then we can always upgrade if needed down the road. So that's pretty much what's going on there. I also went ahead, I feel like I've been experiencing some belt slip issues, so I decided to say screw it. Picked up the Gates Fleet Runner. So this one is a little bit longer than my current belt. I noticed my tensioner was kind of out of play, which could have been messing with stuff too, but it was an 85 and 7 something belt, and the stock one's 84 or something. So this should be good there, and these are known in a lot of applications to be very good. Belts do not let things slip, so that's awesome, very heavy duty. So we're gonna put this on there, and then I also have a new wheel bearing. This is gonna be a separate video, probably the next one on the car. But I've been getting some high speed vibrations at 100 miles an hour plus. It starts getting pretty noticeable. And a long time ago when I redid the axle on this thing, I totally forgot that I'm pretty sure there was some play in this side's wheel bearing. So I'm gonna get back to that and actually change it out this time. Before I changed out the seal there, and if the seal goes bad, usually it's because of a vibration like a wheel bearing. So I'm pretty sure something's screwy with that side, so we're gonna go ahead and pop it out later. But for right now, I want to work on the wiring, and you guys have already seen me do this, so I'm going to pretty much time lapse through it, and we're going to get the belt done and the wiring done. And then next video is also going to be doing that wheel bearing, and that'll pretty much do it. So we're going to get the two things sorted out, wheel bearing done in a separate video, so it's a how-to, and then we'll go on a test drive, hopefully in this video. And the goal is we have one more track day coming up that I really want to try and get to. The weather's cooling down, and with the transmission still being a little wonky, I'm kind of over the whole drag racing thing, so I'd like to get out there one more time with some better weather and all the other issues sorted out, see what kind of times we can run, and then probably call it there and to kind of see how it goes, see how I'm feeling after that. But that's the plan for the video, so without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the wiring. I'm gonna get this thing jacked up, and then my plan is hopefully I can feed it through this existing guy and just kind of pull it through, but we'll see how that works out. I don't know yet, so we'll see how that works out. But it's kind of a pain in the butt because I have everything zip tied underneath the car, so we'll see how it goes. But that's the plan. Hopefully we're good to go. Thicker wire, more pump flow. When I was messing around, I did put a thicker wire up to here, but it wasn't that one. And the pump flow for sure increased. Before you could kind of like close off the feed to the supercharger, intercooler brick, and you kind of like pinch it off pretty easily. Once I upped the flow, or with the better wire, it was very difficult to pinch this line, and everything got pretty stiff. So definitely had upped flow for sure. I don't have a flow tester, but just going based off feel, definitely an improvement. So without further ado, let's go and get going. All right, quick little update. I stopped filming there a bit because this was being a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. But check it out. So went ahead and got the new harness in here, and I wanted to show you the difference in the size. So this is 14 gauge and this is 12 gauge, so you can see the difference in wire size there. Anyway, so we got the new one wired in here. Runs around, sorry, this guy runs around to our relay. Our relay was already 12 gauge, so you can see it's now match. And then I hooked it up and it runs down. Took out the grill again, top piece off, running around, running through here. I need to re-zip tie this. Problem is, why this being such a difficult process, because I zip tied everything. Trying to just pull the new wire through the loom is actually a real pain in the butt. But this is the size of the wire right here, so you guys can get an idea of the difference. And once again, this is the 14 gauge, but it's also the aluminum or copper coated aluminum, so not so great. Or aluminum coated copper, I think is what it is. But yeah, so you keep on working, and next up we got to go ahead and bring it all the way underneath the car around here and up there. And I think I'm just going to show you guys the final product because it kind of sucks doing this and trying to film it. And honestly, it doesn't really matter. You're not really getting any value out of it, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Wiring's finished up. Time to crank her up and see what happens. So let's see how our flow looks. Should be pretty good if I didn't miss anything. All right, well, new wires ran. I'm gonna do a little troubleshooting. I don't think the fuse got fully seated in the new thing right here, but it seems to be good. Got a relay and everything running around. Has pretty good pressure in this hose. I can't hardly fully collapse it, which is good. Coming around, we have our flow, so I feel like we're doing pretty good, so should be good there. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off in a minute, and then we'll kind of keep going. I don't know how this cable feels. That's cold. Everything feels cool to the touch for now, so that's good. Ground side cold. Pump feels good. I think we're good there. So next up, we're gonna go ahead and slap on the belt. Got a nice Gates green belt on here, and hopefully, just to double check, we don't have any belt slip. It could be environmental, it could be a bunch of stuff, but last time at the track, I wasn't super happy seeing only 15 PSI with the 2.6 pulley. It should be more than that. So that's what we're gonna do next. All right, so we're in the middle of the belt swap. I just want to show you the difference between grip wise. So you can see the Gates belt right here, the one I'm running, and if you notice, see how the things are spaced out, the ribs. So I don't remember what this one looked like new, but I suspect the sign of slippage is that getting spaced out, whereas the Gates are much closer together, i.e. better grip around all the ribs. So just a little FYI, that's something to look for. Other than that, they seem pretty similar. I don't see much difference, besides obviously the color, and I think the Gates is a little bit thicker potentially. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this back on, and hopefully we'll see a difference in boost. Alrighty. New belt is on. No clearance issues, and it does have more play in the idler now, which is probably a good thing. Okay, there we go. Feeling good. And I did want to get you the actual size, so if you guys are curious, the way the part numbers work, so 85.2 is the actual belt length, and the stock one is 84.1, I believe. So we got just about an inch more of length in there. And like I was saying, the idler does have a good amount, or the tensioner has a nice amount of play in it now. And by play, I mean like moved to tension. Before it was almost maxed out all the time, which is not really good for stuff. So Raven Racing, their belts, you go to their Gates green belt, they have a huge selection of, well, they have really just two belts, but underneath there they have a whole rundown of what your combo is. And mine is a VMP with a 2.6 upper, the aux tensioner right there, stock size idler, and a 10% lower, and that came out to roughly 85 inches. So that's what I want, it's the closest one I could get. But it's good to go. So that's done. Last thing I really need to knock out is to go ahead and do this axle seal. Not axle seal, but a wheel bearing or axle bearing, whatever you want to call it. So that's the last thing I need to do, and then she'll be pretty much good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits for this video, but I appreciate you guys watching. And as always, have a good one. I will see you guys in the next one. We should be taking care of that axle seal. And hopefully I'll get rid of our little high-speed vibration that's been bothering me. I've had it for a long time, and it's not something that I'm comfortable with at this point. I'd like to get it squared away, and I think that's where our issue is. So without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.